All right, so what do we need though to believe that we are big and prove it? We have to make the world believe it as well, right? So what happens after this is, of course, the Paris tasting, right? 1976. And interestingly, of course, I'm sure all of you watched the movie. It wasn't initiated by anybody from Napa. I mean, Napa wines were sent to publications, were tried to be exported to even foreign markets before the Paris tasting. But it was Stephen Spurrier, who, of course, was a wine merchant from England living in Paris, that decided, you know, we should figure out if these wines are really something, or these, you know, Americans just fooling themselves, right? So he was a firm believer that actually the French wines will certainly win this tasting. And so were all the people that were the judges. The judgment of Paris was entirely judged by French men and women that were in the wine industry. Of course, there were a couple of that were English, but still, they were people that were very highly regarded and very familiar with French wines, right? Nobody in their right mind would have thought that the Americans would win. And they did, both on the white and the red side, which is crazy, right? So that certainly was something that made a huge impact on what you could do with the wine that you're producing in Napa Valley. All of a sudden, the global market opened up, and even the US market went haywire, right? Everybody wanted Napa wine all of a sudden at all restaurants around the world. So that was a huge, huge step in the direction where basically we get into the 1980s and Napa gets recognized more and more so. More vintages come out, larger volumes come out, so more people can access Napa wines. And then, of course, the move towards protecting the area that you have, Napa Valley, starts the AVA movement. But actually, Napa Valley is not the first AVA. Do you guys know which one was before? Outside of California, sorry?
Wasn't that Carneros?
No, Carneros came after. So Napa Valley is the first California one. But actually, there was an AVA in Missouri that was actually created legally, an AVA before. It was Augusta, Missouri, just 8 months before Napa Valley. But of course, Napa Valley followed, and you're right, Carneros was one of the early ones as well. And our youngest one, of course, is Kumswa from 2011. So there was a big move in the early 80s, and then another wave kind of in the 90s, and we still have a few more that came in recent years. But the AVA really allowed for a whole move in the right direction. You can actually put it in the label. You can actually start competing truly with those French, Italian, and other appellation-based wines, and you can start market your wine based upon the brand that people want it to be when it comes to Napa Valley. So let's go back and let's step out of history for a second. We'll get back to it, but let's look at where Napa really is, right? Obviously, we are in Northern California, north of the San Pablo Bay and the town of San Francisco, but very, very unique. And I was just talking about why that is and how different it is. And when you drive out of the Bay Area, you're certainly realizing that you're in a completely different environment. And then, of course, what makes terroir? What are the three building blocks? It's climate, right? And then what else? What's under our feet? Soil. And then the people. The people that make elevation kind of part of the topography. Yes, certainly part of it. But basically, the climate, the soil, the topography, and then the people that make use of these natural resources that we have here.